that down, let's talk about this for a second, shall we? James Gunn has just confirmed, just for anybody who's sitting in the movie theater come July 10th and 11th, about whether or not we should sit around through the credits and wait for a post-credit scene. The answer is yes. Entertainment Weekly is just put out, Superman will have post-credit scene. James Gunn explains his ethos around those ending tags. So the number one interesting piece of information, practical information, is when you go see Superman, wait around. There's going to be at least one. I don't know if there's going to be multiple or not, but there's going to be at least one post-credit scene. So there's that. What's more interesting, though, Rob, to me, is in a couple of these interviews, James Gunn talks about his philosophy that he kind of evolved at Marvel when it comes to post-credit scenes. And he even talks about how at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he had the post-credit scene teasing, then he's in part 3. Well, not Nova.
Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock, thank you. He had the post-credit scene teasing Adam Warlock. And he's saying, I wish I hadn't done that because I wasn't fully kind of figured out how I was going to use Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
But since I did it, I don't have the freedom to not put him in it now. And he said, I really tied my own hands. And he said, I'm glad I did Adam Warlock in 3, but that is a mistake I'd want to avoid. And then the whole thing came up about when you look at Marvel's caught itself a couple of times. Look at the end of the Eternals. They tease Blade. They don't have Blade.
Right.
At the end of Thor: Love and Thunder, I got really excited at the end when we saw the guy from freaking Ted Lasso as Hercules.
Right.
Yes, Father.
Also, at the end of Eternals, they teased the Black Knight.
Yeah, they cheat. Which he was in the entire film anyway, so they didn't know what to do. And he even talks about how when he was watching the Avengers film, and at the end of it, Thor goes off with the Guardians. Like James Gunn was surprised by that. And he called up Marvel and said, just so you know, I'm not putting Thor in my Guardians movie. I don't know what you're expecting. I'm not going to have Thor in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So he's like, he kind of made this point about how I think if you're going to do a post-credit scene, you have to really solidly have it planned out. You've got to 100% solidly have it planned out.
What a surprise.
I mean, what a revolution of thinking, right? He says, you got to have it completely planned out, kind of along the lines, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit with the Wonder Woman stuff, but kind of along the same lines, he says, hey, we're not officially announcing any movies until we have an absolute locked, completed script for that movie. Then we'll officially announce it.
Yeah.
Again, learning some lessons from some stuff that's happened at Marvel, Lucasfilm, wherever you want to look, where movies get announced and never happen. So I kind of like this approach of saying, so because to this, Rob, this tells me whatever we see in the post-credit scene of Superman, you can take to the bank. It's going to be tied into something that's coming up because it's deadly mapped out. It's absolutely planned, and it's going to be absolutely relevant rather than having Hercules go, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder if that'll have anything to do with the MCU moving forward. Anyway, you read all James Gunn's comments on that. What stood out to you?
Well, again, it speaks to his philosophy about what they want to do with DC Studios, which is, planning. Like, we're not going to move forward until the script is solid. None of this, well, we don't have a script. We're going to start shooting without a script. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We know what our story is going to be. Not only do we know what our stories are going to be, we know what our next story is going to be because we're not going to have a post-credit scene unless we already have the script and know where we're going. Right. So we can tease up something because that's what makes it more satisfying anyway. I mean, go figure. Somebody who's making storytelling a priority for their IP-driven, studio. Their studio is literally designed to do one thing, which is exploit the DC universe in film and television, streaming. And the fact that you have somebody, I mean, James Gunn is he's literally the biggest fan. I mean, Dave Filoni's a Star Wars fan, but Dave Filoni doesn't have the experience James Gunn had in Hollywood in terms of now James Gunn has produced television.
Decades and decades and decades.
Going all the way back to Trauma. I mean, James Gunn's a novelist.
Yeah.
And it's like the guy knows what he's doing. So here's somebody who has it all, who's controlling a fan-based IP. That is why people are always like, they call me whatever, like we're James Gunn shills or whatever. I'm like, no.
Just glazing on James Gunn.
I'm somebody who appreciates. We don't have the kind of people at the top that really know how to exploit their IPs. James Gunn does. In this particular instance, there's no one better on earth because he can write, he can direct, he can produce, and he knows the material because he was a fan. So he's combining all of those things into this, and he's making smart moves. That said, Superman better be good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because if it ain't, none of this matters.
Yeah, all the hype, the trailer, which we'll talk about later, post-credit scene, blah, blah, blah. If the movie ain't good, then I'm going to say not only is it bad for this movie, I've been saying this the whole time, it's bad for the entire DCU movie.
It's bad for the entire film industry.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression, Rob.
No.
And this is their
No.
first impression.
I mean, what I love about this, though, is you just came back from the World Series of Poker. James Gunn is all in. Whatever his stack of chips is.
He's pushed them all in the middle.
He's pushed them all in the middle. Hit personally, professionally. That's a baller move, man. And the fact that he knows that, he's all in.
And by the way, I should point out too that I don't think James Gunn is probably the only one to have learned the lessons from what's happened in Marvel. I think Kevin Feige probably has too.
Yes.
I think you're going to see now Kevin Feige be a little bit more restrained about when they make big announcements about movies. I think you're going to see them like with
No Hall H.
Thunderbolts. Yeah, no Hall. Well, they got nothing to promote in Hall H this year, but Thunderbolts, it's infamously they shot that very, very late in the process, and they had the Russo brothers come in. But at least even then, it was done because they know exactly where they're going now. So now they do a post-credit scene.
And that was a post-credit scene that had meat on its bones.
Yes.
It actually told us something. It furthered the story. We saw them all in different uniforms. We saw them now in Avengers Tower or whatever. So
The
it
campus.
actually, it added to the story.
Yeah, so it fleshed out more that happened in the movie, and it foreshadowed some stuff that might be coming later in the cinematic universe. And so maybe it's not just Gunn. Hopefully it's going to be everybody else that learns this lesson too. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Stitch Fix. Guys, you know I love movies, but you also know I have absolutely no fashion sense, and I absolutely hate shopping for my clothes. But thankfully, I have found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. With Stitch Fix, I get a stylist who understands my style, size, and budget, and they do all the shopping for me. Because look, shopping and figuring out style can be overwhelming, especially for somebody like me. When it comes to getting dressed, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. That's why I love having a Stitch Fix stylist. They really know what works for me. I get pieces that make me look great, and it's a real confidence boost. You just give your stylist your size, style, and budget preferences. You get to order boxes when you want and how you want, no subscription required. They send you personalized pieces, and the fit is always on point. No stores, no crowds, no stress. Just personalized looks that you will love. So guys, make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Campea. That's stitchfix.com/Campea. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? James Gunn, I'm glad we now know there is going to be post-credit scene for Superman. So yes, when the credits start to roll, stay in the seats. But also, what do you think about the stuff he's talking about with his philosophy about making sure that it's actually completely planned out before we just start throwing things on the screen just to get a pop out of the audience? Whatever you guys feel about that, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.